All right. How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Boys in Blue 9320, the Desi home for all things Manchester City, the European treble winners, the three-peat winners, and the UEFA Super Cup winners.
The Conquerors.
Joining me on the pod today, we have Rathod back after a break for a week. I still don't know why he has went somewhere, but welcome back. And
Thank you, bro.
tonight on the pod, we have our guest, our friend in hand, Mr. Rupam Nag, back for the second time. I think so. His
Pleasure as
first experience was
always.
quite good, so he obliged on our request to come back again.
More than
And I think,
happy.
and when he came for the first time, I really got a lot of positive response that to bring him back again whenever it's possible. So here we are, people,
Happy to hear that.
back on popular request.
Happy to
Rupam is back.
oblige.
How's it going? How's it going, Rupam? All good? How are you, man?
Yeah, brilliant. Can't complain. Two back-to-back solid wins coming from behind. So happy days. Hoping for
Happy
more of the
Yep.
days.
same.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I like about Rupam is he goes straight into the business.
Yep.
So
On the point. Fair.
on the point there. So let's jump right into that. This week again, we kept our winning run going on, not just in Premier League, even in Champions League as well. Uh, before we get into the games, firstly, defending champions, boys. We are entering into the UCL as defending champions.
Yep.
Even in the last episode, I was talking to Doc about it. Like, the attitude is different. Yeah, the
Still
way
feels
the teams
surreal.
look at us is different.
Yep.
So I'll talk about the feeling when you know that now you are the creme de la creme of not just your home league but in Europe as well. You are they when even in the wrestling when he comes in and we get the belt and we kind of raise our title and everything. So now we have that bragging rights of being the defending champions in the season. How does it feel? How does it feel when you hear these words? Like, what are your
Uh,
thoughts?
to me, as I said, it still feels surreal because for a brief period, or probably not a brief period, for the longest time, it felt like it just wasn't in our destiny.
Yeah.
We've been favorites for nearly 4 years running now, and we've been
I
one
think
of
so
the
in
favorites for like
almost the
6 or 7 years.
Entire
Yeah,
Guardiola tenure, right from 2017 onwards, 2017, 2018, when
yeah,
everyone was
we've
like,
been up there, and we've been
yeah,
like the number one favorites for like 4 years in a row, and somehow we've always fallen short. Um, but yeah, I don't know how we did it, how we managed it, but I don't care
Yeah.
whatsoever. We've done it, and even now when people so many weeks, so many months later, when people call us the defending champions, the champions of Europe, the champions of what? The champions of Europe. It still
Yep.
feels
we
crazy.
know who we
So
are.
yeah, nothing
Champions of
beats
Europe,
that
we
feeling.
know who we
Yeah,
are.
it's a
Like,
relief more than anything.
yeah, it is. And if I had to dig deep a little bit into it, it's been 12 years. Like when we entered into the competition into group stage, it was 2011. And then in 2023, we finally get to lift the title. And in that period, we played one final and a final as well. So, if you look back at this journey of these 12 years, because this is a new cycle, okay? This like
Yeah.
a chapter has come, an era has come to an end, a chapter has come to an end. Like, this is basically you are turning over a new leaf and now you're restarting everything again. It's back to square one. So, if you look back at those 12 years, because I know you guys have been following from quite a long time. So, if you look back at those 12 years, where do you stand and like what is the first thing that comes to your mind when when you revisit those years of heartbreak, the years of where they're just there because there have been numerous years where we're just there, one step close, two step close, we're just there. We just have to maybe have those 3 games. We have to win 3 games or 4 games left, and then जैसे कि यार छू के निकल गया. They just go straight in a direction and we have been forced to take a left or right and just see the trophy and fuck off. So like where and when that if you take back to yourself to that day as like it's done. So when what are your memories? Like what how do you see those 12 years if you can put it out? Put it out.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's as Rupam said, it's surreal. It's hard to believe. Like it's done. It's finally done, and we are like a European champion. That's like a big stress relief for us. But yeah, when looking back to all back 12 years, we were like just there for numbers. It felt like those years. We were just there for
Mm.
participation. We went out to Barcelona like it was nothing. They were just like we were another opponent for them. Now the perception has changed completely. Now when they want to avoid us, every top European team wants to avoid us. They are like, no,
Yeah,
we'll play anyone, but we don't want to play Manchester City. And it's like by default we are favorites for Champions League like in coming years
yeah,
now. The perception has changed completely, and be it a away game or home game. Home game, so it's completely different now. We haven't lost for like 4 or 5 years, but even if away
yeah.
games also, we go there as favorites. You're going to Allianz Arena as favorites. You're going to Bernabeu as favorites. And think back like 12 years ago, dude, where we were we? We were playing like Clichy Kolarov at left back. We had Fernando, like players like in the midfield. And we were going with them to Bernabeu. And now the team has completely changed, and we've seen that evolution of the team. So glad to be there, and just to be to the point of the reigning champions when the team entered on the pitch, the Belgrade and the Man City team entered on the pitch at the Etihad, there was Champions League trophy sitting in the middle, which only the defending champions keep by on the first game, and that felt like, oh my god, we are them, we are Man City, and we are the European champions. So it felt amazing, amazing, man. No complaints as a City fan right now.
We made Mike Summerby proud. That's all I can say. We
Yep,
made Mike Summerby proud.
yep, for sure.
Yeah, Tanmay makes a really good point because I remember our first ever Champions League game against Napoli, and Napoli were the favorites by far.
Yep,
We had a very decent team, but Napoli were the favorites, and it it just is an opportunity to reiterate the point that we are the definition of a league team. The
Yeah,
Champions League is a cup
yep,
competition. Obviously, you don't have to be the best team in the world to win it. Chelsea are the
true.
living example of that. Both years they won it. They were nowhere near the best team in the world, but they still were champions of Europe. And we
it
have never had
it
that luck.
was their day. It was their day. Like
Exactly, and
those were the days.
exactly, and that's the beauty of a cup competition. Someone like a Portsmouth can win the FA Cup. Someone like a Manchester United can win the Carabao Cup. You never
Yep,
Yeah,
expect them to do it, but the small clubs often do it. Even if you're not the best team in the world, you often win cup competitions because it's just about
exactly.
turning up
Yeah.
for that one single occasion.
I mean,
That has
Tottenham
never
made
happened for us.
Tottenham made to the UCL final. I mean, who would have
Exactly,
thought?
like
yep,
that's a cup competition, but we have never had that luck. Like we have had to literally become one of the greatest teams in modern football history for us to win the Champions League.
yep,
You don't really need to reach that heights to pick up any trophy, let alone a cup competition like the Champions League. But we have had to do that. I don't think any club has struggled as much as we have had to order to get one singular tournament in our bag, and we finally done it. As Tanmay rightly mentioned, like we have had to upgrade from having Alexander Kolarov and Gail Clichy at left back, both of them solid players, but
yep,
from them to having from basically having to have the best player in the world at his position at every single position in order to win the Champions League. So it's been a story of growth over 12 years like we haven't seen in football before, at least in the 21st century. So yeah, I mean, you can hate on it, but it's a spectacular story. Like we have had to
No,
definitely struggle. You can talk about the money and everything, but you really don't need to work this hard to win something like the
yep.
Champions League. But we have had to, and it's
you
merited.
know, these last couple of years, the one thing that, in terms of if you debate on anything, the one thing that has been thrown completely out of the box is the money thing. Because
Yep.
it's not us. Like this, it, keep your Brightons and everything aside. Those are the anomalies, okay? That they can spend very little and then they can still work their magic on it.
Well, they
That's a
lost in
different thing.
Europe, so I don't know. Europe is a different ball
I
game
mean,
Yeah.
I
altogether,
mean,
isn't it?
if we could compare with our timelines, because in 2011 we were
Definitely, yeah.
kind of like those new boys on the scene. Okay, this is something new. I mean, for Brighton, it's the same thing. So yeah, I mean, at least I think that they were at this season. They were like, okay, we'll kind of get this a regular thing. We kind of do this, participating in this a regular thing. So, but look at your top teams in England. Okay, all your big six, all your big eight. Everyone has spent to the team. Okay, get the best out of it. So I mean, if you have to win competitions, you have to spend money.
Yep.
There are some anomalies like your Brightons or your maybe
West Ham.
Brentfords and everything, but yeah, those are very few examples. So I think the money is something that you cannot bring into any argument with the fact. Like if you have to compete, get the best players. It's that simple as that. Speaking of the best players, let's talk about the two games that have happened: West Ham and West Ham Belgrade. West Ham away, 3-1 win. West Ham Belgrade home, 3-1 win. Okay.
Both games trailing
Uh,
1-0 at halftime.
yeah, both
Yep.
games trailing 1-0. Both games kind of bit of, a moment of madness. And then one thing led to the another, and they capitalized on it and they scored a goal. But then the whole story of the season is City being that quintessential second half FC, that after 45th to 48th minute something happens to them and they score one goal. So this has
Yep.
been happening and it didn't disappoint in the season as well. So if I had to, and even in the backstage we were discussing about number of shots in both the games. It was 66 shots on target, 31. I'm talking both the games. So everyone who's watching, I'm talking about both the games in total. 66 shots, 31 on target, 6 goals. Big chances created 15. Big
Shit
chances missed
smackers.
12. Goalkeeper saves by the opponents 23.
Shit
मेरा दिमाग
smackers.
कभी वो 66 से हट नहीं रहा है. This is basically this. These are number of shots in combined where a team in the bottom half does it for 6 to 8 games, and we did it in 2 games.
Yep.
I mean, over to you, over to like Rupam. Like, what do you make of this? हो क्या रहा
Uh,
है ये?
yeah, I think what we can, the only thing that we can read into this is that how relentless we've been over the last
Yeah,
couple of games. Like दोनों गेम्स में हम 1-0 के डेफिसिट में थे हाफ टाइम पे एंड in the past few seasons we have seen that whenever we are trailing sometimes nervousness kicks in, like
shoulders get dropped.
yeah, if you go like 60, 70 minutes without a
Yep.
goal and you start worrying about the inevitable, like is it one of those days where the ball just won't go in, but the positive to take from these two games has been that that thought has never really crossed our minds, even against
Yes.
West Ham, who were definitely a much stronger opposition than Carvena's West Ham. We never really felt like, you know what, this is a day where we drop points. The
True.
positivity was there throughout, and we always felt like we could come back into the game. And sure enough, in both those games, we scored pretty much right after kickoff in the second half.
Mm.
So that speaks volumes about how we are heading into games. Like you get the champions of Europe. Like there's a different gravy. Like you don't just lose games. It doesn't matter if
Mm.
you're 1-0 down. It doesn't matter if you're 2-0 down. You're the champions of Europe. Like
Yeah.
if they score two, you can score four. It's
Yep.
as simple as that. And I've seen that swagger in us in the last couple of games, And of course, they're not huge games, especially the Champions League one. The quality of the opposition isn't the best that Europe has to offer, but regardless, it's about setting a culture um, in the club. Like how do you react when you go 1-0 down? And if that's how we react, then we have nothing to worry about. And as
Yeah,
far as the 66 shots are concerned, like yeah, we have only scored 6 goals, but ideally we should have scored 15.
yeah.
And
Haaland should have scored like 6, 7 out of those.
yeah, he should have scored
I mean,
six
yeah,
alone. Yeah, he scored one. He should have scored six alone. And I'm
Yeah.
being pretty lenient on him. He should have scored six alone. But it's the reaction that I'm going to read into, and very happy with that.
Yep.
you know, just since he was talking about the culture, if you haven't seen that whole Doku's post-match interview with the club, one thing he
Yeah,
kind of focused about is the mentality. Like when I mistime the ball and then that led to what routes scoring the goal from this time. So the thing that Pep kind of mentioned to me is like, whatever you're doing, keep doing. These things happen. It's fine. Whatever you're doing it well. Do not let your shoulders drop. Okay. Keep the mentality. His whole focus was on mentality. That you are playing for a team that has won everything. Okay. You know that you're gonna face these situations in the team where these things will happen. Okay. You have to just keep it going. I think that's the key word that as I mentioned. That just keep it going. Just do what you're doing on the pitch. Things will come. Goals will happen. I could see that happening. I think that was the whole mantra that Pep has been kind of instilling in the squad. And I kind of agree with what Ruben said that even if 2-0 down, you know who you are. You know that
Yep.
you are different than these teams. You are built different. Okay, I mean you're playing for a club that has been on a different tangent altogether. So that's why you have to do not let these things go into your head. You do your thing, you do your job well, things will happen. And I think so that's what happened in the second half. They kept the game intact. They were consistently doing what they were doing in the first half. If things were not happening in that half, things will happen in the second half. You just have to wait for your chance, wait for things to get in your favor, wait for West Ham to commit a mistake, wait for them to kind of get their defensive structure bit disarray, and then you can take an advantage. And that's what it did happen. I think so for Red Star Belgrade, it's most to do with having your season opener, having your season start on a good note, because as we said that we are defending champions. So uh, and plus our first game isn't it isn't as tough as it was being made uh, on the pitch. But I think so that whole thing of get this one game, get this game right, and start on a good note is what Pep was looking for. And because the last time we were discussing with Doc regarding the whole lineup for Red Star, because my whole focus was you have those other two games coming in like within 3 days of a gap. So you do have to rest your players. But since I saw the Belgrade game, I was like, maybe Pep wants to start off very strong and get that group stage finished in 3 games or 4 games, and in the last 2 games he might kind of do the whole rotation thing. So yeah, I mean, it was more or less a similar thing. We kind of, you could say Nunes kind of failed to win the ball, and then I don't know who kind of won it, and then he passed on to Bukhari, and he kind of teed our defensive line and went one-on-one with Ederson and scored. So, but then we responded very well, and then we scored 3 goals back. But the one thing that's common in both these games is coming of age for Julian Alvarez. As the wise men say that for someone's adversity is one man's adversity is another man's opportunity. I think so that whole Kevin De Bruyne's hamstring injury kind of opened up new doors for Julian Alvarez as a player. The last season he spent most of his time on bench, and then the questions were rising that you have a World Cup winner on bench, how are you gonna fit him? And then you got him in a new contract with a 1 year extension, and then uh, are you kind of just wasting him out and anything? And Pep said that, listen, I'll figure something out. You don't have to be too hyped up about this. I'll do something. I'll figure it out something. This season, the, like my whole point was from being on bench to now Pep being saying out in the open that this guy is undroppable. I'm sorry. I cannot drop this guy for the games like that. This journey of the things that changed for him for a year because he's playing in a position that is alien to him, being playing the second striker as a number 10, and then he's kind of developing his skill set to play over there. And I think so he has slotted in very well. Initially, if you hear the concept of Julian Alvarez playing as number 10, you could see like how it is gonna work out, and you might not be behind this idea, even though you have been seeing what Pep has been doing for last 7 to 8 years in City, but still there's some ideas where you feel like it doesn't sound good on paper as well. Like leave it on field, it doesn't sound paper as well, and then you see this guy like utilizing this whole week and making names, making headlines all about him. Julian Alvarez is basically at this stage City's, if not the best player, the top three players. So, what do you make of this whole change of scene for Alvarez? And in the words of most cricket fans, जज्बात बदल गए, हालात बदल गए, जिंदगी बदल गई, वक्त पलट दिए, all of that. So, and this week is, I think so, a coming of age for Julian Alvarez on the scene. If not,
Yeah,
this week, he kind of,
I,
it's all about him. It's all about Julian Alvarez. So,
I think
what are your thoughts on him?
I think he's our current best player on form, along with Rodri. On form, if you're talking about like the consistent performance from last 2 3 games, he has been like superb. And I'll say this, and please tell me if you agree or not. I think City has been like I've seen City has been more fluid without Kevin De Bruyne in like last 2 3 years. Like the fluidity in the City team when you see when Kevin De Bruyne is not there.
Which was difficult to imagine. It was
Yep,
difficult to imagine that now.
exactly. Without Kevin De Bruyne, how can your system be fluid? The last time we had
Exactly.
this was the 2020-21 season when Gundogan and Bernardo had that midfield, that 22 game unbeaten streak we had. Gundogan had all goal scoring spree. The first time came in. That time we had that fluidity. And after that, like in a long time, without Kevin De Bruyne, we were looking, even last season, without Kevin De Bruyne, the transition was not that fluid. There was not efficient transition. We had to go wide. We had to, keep the ball towards us, keep the position. But now the fluidity is there. Now in transition, we know if we are getting the ball on the half line, the ball is gonna go quickly to the final third, like in 2 3 seconds. Because and Julian Alvarez was one of the obviously there are players like Nunes, there are players like Kovacic, there are players like Rodri who was helping to build the system. But Alvarez is playing actually a major role in that. The way he bursts with the ball is good to watch, man. The player is actually he feels like a player who enjoys having ball at his feet. He wants the ball. He wants to do something with the ball. He enjoys playing football. We are just appreciating his like how great player he is. I don't think he cares about how great he is. He just wants to play football. He just wants to be there. He wants to score goal. He wants to assist. And we're lucky. We are lucky to have him in our team along with like
All
Haaland.
all thanks to Juan Patsy, man. That guy, all thanks to
Yep.
Juan Patsy. And it's difficult to believe that a player like him costs 14 million pounds
True.
outright.
True. True.
And when just to add to it, because this was came out in the open that if Haaland would not have signed for City last season, Julian Alvarez would have been an only striker. So that was, I think, the Pep kind of did second to the idea that if somehow we didn't get Haaland, I think Julian Alvarez would have been our striker.
Yep.
But
Also,
also you could see that him, like even in West Ham, everything went through him. Like he
yep.
was there in the center, everything went through all the three goals. That whole went, everything went through. Even the second goal, if you see that he flicked the ball. Like if the West Ham went to the low block situation and it's like, "Kya kare?" He flicked the ball. And I was like, yes, this is something you expect from someone like a Kevin De Bruyne and all of that. Like
Yeah.
these guys have those kind of an understanding of the game and this IQ. And I was like, ye itli pakad kaise liye? And that's how you see that what Julian
Also
Alvarez is. That
the
guy is
second
like a water. That guy adapts to everything. Is
the
what I
the
could say.
second goal he
This guy
scored
can
against
adapt to
Belgrade.
anything.
The second goal he scored against Belgrade, that was actually a very good cross. Obviously, the goalkeeper
Very
made
good.
an error, but it was actually a very good cross on the red ball. Also, I'll just like to just add one point. this may sound outrageous at first, but eventually you'll understand why I'm saying this. I'm kind of surprised why is no one talking about him in that Ballon d'Or bracket. Of course, I don't want him to win it. Obviously, I want him to win it, but it's too far away. But he has won the World Cup. He has won the treble. He has, scored 4 goals in World Cup, and he has been scoring goals for us. Jorginho didn't do much when you comparing with Alvarez, and he was like wanted to be like they were saying that he should win the Ballon d'Or. I'm like, just why isn't like anyone talking about it? Obviously, I'm not saying be top three,
Alvarez
top
won
five.
everything in the wrong year.
Yep, I
Alvarez
mean,
won
why
everything in
isn't
the
anyone
wrong year.
talking about it? That's like an outrageous achievement to have in a year. A treble and a World Cup, and he was involved. He scored 4 goals in World Cup, and that's, I mean, one day.
Yeah, I think the
I wish
problem is
Alvarez would
that.
have won everything in that Jorginho year. Yeah, sorry, Rupan.
Yeah,
No, I was just saying that I think just the problem is that he wasn't involved enough in the treble winning year.
yeah, that's
Like,
the only
Yeah.
yeah,
thing.
he's like our best or second best player right now, in form, on form. Sorry, but yeah, the number of starts that he had last season, it just doesn't help.
Yeah, but I
Um,
think he should be counted like in top 10 or something, man. Come on, give him a
Definitely,
I mean,
just
I think he
pay him
might
his
be.
dues.
I think he might be.
I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah, definitely.
He might, and the number of starts that he had last year, his stats complement those starts, but that was
Exactly,
not enough. I mean,
exactly.
that was
Yeah,
not enough for someone to kind of substantiate for him to see him being in that Ballon d'Or
Yeah,
race.
that's the point.
I think
Yeah,
that could be one of the reasons that his stats match up his stats, but then
the
isn't
number
enough.
is low. That's why. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean I think
yeah.
so the trophy cabinet that he had last season. Uh, that's an envious trophy cabinet. He's won everything, right from
I
Copa
mean,
Libertadores to
it's
World
literally never
Cup.
happened before. So
No, no,
there's
never
that.
happened to anyone.
and also,
Yeah,
by the way, the fun fact, he has won 14 trophies. All are uh, unique trophies. None of them are like repeated trophies.
yeah.
That's even a crazy stat.
He has
Like,
14 unique trophies, and
yeah,
pretty much one after the other. It's not like he skipped any.
Yes,
yeah, true. I'm like
One after the
crazy.
that
other.
too winning in a year.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but Rupam,
It's
like, what do you make of this Alvarez 2.0? I'm saying 2.0 because this is genuinely a 2.0.
Yep.
definitely
You
he
know,
is 2.0 because he did play in that Kevin De Bruyne role late last season, a few games
yeah,
here and there, but he made some good movements, but his decision making was kind of awry. Like, um, we could never really trust him to play as that playmaker come second striker, like just evolving his role on the basis of need. But I don't know how what he practiced in this off season, like what kind of skills he worked on, but he just transitions so effortlessly from being that second striker who needs to be in the box and needs to be like in goal scoring presence to someone who needs to play a little bit deeper and find the next person first before making his own run into the box. Um, that decision making has suddenly just become so good in a space of 2 or 3 months. It's frightening.
Yep.
I'm not sure how he's done that, but it's a pleasant surprise.
yeah, I think so with Alvarez again. The last season, I think so. His pace was also being questioned that he's not that much of a pace to kind of play over there. But then you see that second goal, what he scored for Belgrade, that whole curve, that whole free kick that he took, that whole
Yeah,
curve. I mean, that was clear reminiscent of what KDB does.
I
That's like
mean,
Yep.
he's a corner taker right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's unbelievable. He's supposed to be a striker, second striker.
Also, he
He's
took a free kick against West Ham, which hit the crossbar.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So they were.
his technical ability is off the charts. He is just incredible, and to that he's added he's just increased his IQ of the game, his understanding, his reading of the game, and yeah, the sky's the limit now. He could be whoever he wants to be at this point.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean,
It's
yeah,
unbelievable.
I was reading that if this is what 60 to 70% of what Alvarez is, if he
Yeah,
reaches his ceiling, you know what, when we talk about Harry Kane, was like he's a playmaking forward. He's not just who kind of known to score, finish the chances in the box. He can comes back and makes the chances for other people. I mean, Alvarez is doing the same thing. So when you talk about you don't have Kane, but we have someone who does what Kane can do. You have like it's Haaland and your Argentine team kind of situation. Like you have someone there who. So first of all, I thank the United board for not listening to Ralph Ragnick on this guy, and
and
because
every other guy.
I remember that motherfucker Tarek Panja's tweet. Whenever I see Alvarez score now, it brings me back to that whole Tarek Panja's tweet that Julian Alvarez has signed with Manchester City to sit on bench for 5 years. Uh, because I remember those words vividly, and when I see him scoring and I refer to that, it's like, huh? Did you see that? And now this guy is blocked me. So yeah, because I've been very insistently behind him. So from Julian Alvarez, we'll jump into Rodrigo Hernandez,
Casante.
the best defensive mid. I mean, pardon my French, the best midfielder in the world. That's-
Facts.
The best defensive midfielder of this generation.
Yeah, but the best midfielder of the world on current times and the best defender midfielder in generation. Mhm. Let's give both the titles to him.
Yep.
These
The
two
gun.
games, these two games are testament to what this guy is gonna do to his opponents. Man. I'm really, really excited. Uh, he's not just there to, you could say, just hold the hold the line and everything. No, he's focusing on creating chances as well by going forward. Okay, and if he unlocks that in him, um, this is gonna be a nightmare forever. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what do you guys expect Rodri in this season? And one thing I expect from him is to rest properly and kind of come up to
Yeah,
the listen, these games are not meant for me. Please give me rest. You have other players in my position as well. I
Yep.
cannot have that season again that I had last season.
I
So
mean, I,
what
I
do you make
was
of Rodri?
yeah, I was absolutely livid when I saw him start against Red Star. Like, I was like, why is that happening? Why does Rodri need to start against
Yeah.
Red Star at home? We're like favorites by 2 goals in that game. Um, why does Rodri need to start that game? I mean, we ended up needing him. Without him, maybe we don't even win.
Yeah.
So it all made sense at the end. But yeah, as good as his performances have been, um, I really want him to be rested every once in a while. Like, I would be glad if we could play against Nottingham Forest at home without needing Rodri, but that's not going to happen. He's obviously going to start
Yep.
day after. But yeah, eventually, sooner or later, we'll need to figure out a plan for him because he definitely cannot keep playing every single game. Like, I don't know if you're going to play Calvin Phillips or just play Nunez there, play Kovacic there, or play someone from the academy. I don't really care.
Yeah.
He really just needs to rest because if we lose him for an extended period of time due to injury,
Yeah.
it could genuinely derail our season. That's
Yep.
how
Yep.
important he is.
He's very important. We can't afford to lose him for like a lengthy period.
Yep.
And from what I expect, like I expect the way he has started, I expect more goals from him now. I think now
Yeah.
Pep like went was searching for Gundogan's replacement, and he was like, I already have Gundogan's replacement. I think let's just play Rodri up front. Let's just transition him to an attacking player. And the way I think we have like 66 shots. I think 6 to 10 must be of Rodri, I guess. The way he was hitting
Yeah.
shots from the outside of the box, the way he was trying to,
That's yeah.
strike the ball.
That
Yeah,
that's what's surprised me recently because even in the past, if I go back to his very first season, his first goal for the club was against Norwich in that
Norwich 3-2.
3-2 loss.
Timo
Um,
Pukki. Yep.
and that was a that was a screamer from outside the box as
Outside the
well.
box. Yep.
Yeah, so he was one of those players. If the ball bobbles onto his path, he's gonna hit it, and he has great technique, so he can really place the ball and while being very accurate, while being very powerful in his shots. But recently, especially the start of this season, um, he's actually looking for the goal. Like instead of his first preference always being to pass it to someone in a better position, he's
Yeah.
actually looking to take on his man and trying to be the goalkeeper, whether it be from distance or I don't know if you remember the first shot that he took in the last game
Yeah.
against Red Star.
Just went wide.
He
Yeah.
was inside the box and he tried to dribble past the last man and take the shot. It was blocked, but it was a good effort. It was great movement from a defensive midfielder. That's that was kind of unthinkable for Rodri. Like from a mentality point of view, like you just don't expect him to want to do something like that. Like of
And
course
he's
he
not
can
afraid. And he's not afraid to take this risk. He's not afraid. Even if he's on the left foot,
absolutely
he'll
exactly.
just shoot it.
Yeah,
See the Bayern goal last season. The Bayern goal from the left foot outside of the
exactly.
box. How do you do that? It's
Yeah,
crazy.
so he's just brimming with confidence. I think he knows how good he is.
Yep.
I think he knows that he's one step above everyone else around him, and he's taking that responsibility. Like, if I really need to beat my man and curl it, ping it into the top left corner, then by all means he's gonna do it. Um, while maybe 2 years ago he probably wouldn't have taken that shot unless he absolutely needed to. Today,
Yep.
he's more than happy to do it. He doesn't care what others think about him taking that shot. Uh, I
Yep.
think we've lost your audio.
Mike.
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah, I've done it. Yeah. Yeah, so just to add to this, recently Pep came out in the open and the press conference and said that Rodri is the greatest midfielder in the world currently, and I think so. Every midfielder, be it defensive or attacking, he sees Rodri as a benchmark, which is which is in itself a great achievement for someone that. I think so. Declan Rice, Bissouma, all of these guys who are on the block, they now said that we look up to Rodri as because we see whatever he's achieving, we see whatever he's doing on the pitch as that level that where we want to come in. We want to reach out to help our team by being this good. I mean, we don't know how many years it will take, but we are working on that. So and I think so that even in 2019, 20, those seasons where he was constantly being subjected to the ire of fans, that who have you signed? That 60 million are down the drain. Atletico robbed us, and then
We signed a
hey,
fridge for
now
60 million.
yeah, you got a fridge
Yep.
for 60 million, yeah.
Spanish fridge. Yep.
And the fact is that that fridge and that slang has now been from Maguire, which is more insulting for Rodri. Thanks for reminding that. That so coming from those big bats from our own fan base to now the Rodri being hailed as like even not just City fans. You could ask any one of those real fans who know this stuff, and it's just like listen, there's no one who can touch Rodri at this hands down. So and that's why I think so. He's that much important that he needs to be the squad management for Rodri's sake should be
Yep. It's needed.
pitch perfect to kind of use him in games because
Yeah.
our season is gonna be tough. It's gonna be intense. We're challenging on almost every front as the treble winners, as the ones who have been favorite for winning everything again. So you need a place to be fit. And talking about fitness, I have something else in mind, but I'll keep it for the later stages. Talking about fitness, we have lost five players at this stage. Kovacic is back. Kovacic is coming back. I mean, that's good news that Kovacic is back. But ye injuries, ye duk, ye dard. ये पीड़ा है, ये साला काहे खत्म नहीं होता है? 5 injuries. Okay, I just want to put it on one more thing that Walker, Erling Haaland, and Rodri have played 95 of the total minutes that have been awarded to them while starting in the game. I mean, at this stage, and you have a 23-man squad. So at this stage, when you have 5 injuries and then you have these three players who have been put it, put towards everything, I think so. At this point, you have to start thinking about how to manage the squad because uh, you have Bernardo Silva out for a couple of games. The good news is that it has just been out that he has been assessed and it is not as serious as it is. So maybe he would be out for a couple of games, not more than that. Uh, there is no timeline as of now yet for John Stones' return to the squad. So nobody knows when he's coming back. Uh, Jack Grealish has started training, but I think so. He's not expected to be involved in Nottingham Forest. I think so. He's being seen as more to do with the Newcastle game, which is happening next week. But even if you look at the squad, I think so. 2 or 3 injuries a bit manageable. When it comes to 5 injuries, the alarm bells have to start ringing. So, what do you think? Like because the last season our injury situation was not bad at all, which kind of played an important part of what we've achieved. But when you have been facing 5 injuries in 8 games of the season,
Yep.
that is concerning. That is
Yep.
concerning. See, we're winning, all is fine. That's a different ball game altogether. But still, the players that have been injured, the players that are on sidelines, those are key players. Like you have your whole squad, your whole system shifts up if those players come out into injury. So does that concern you that this could be a recurring theme for the season? This could something that could hamper a lot of our run and competitions in the league and everything.
Yep.
Where you guys stand with this?
I mean, we need to manage a squad because we already have a thin squad, and out of when you say we are missing 5, 6 players, that makes it even thinner. And on top of that, we are playing like there are additional minutes of 9, 10 minutes additional time in the game. And when you play three
Hmm.
games in a row, 3 games in a week, they're like 30, 40 minutes additional time you're playing. You literally playing extra half. You can say that in a week you're playing an extra half. You need players to play these games, and this is where the squad management, the team management will play a part. This is where players like Phillips, players like Gomez, Ake, Ortega, they have to say when Nunes now is coming up in the team. This is the place where they have to step up. They have to obviously they're going to get chances because the more games are going to be there. Pep has to play Phillips. Pep has to play Gomez. But this is the time where they has to shine. They have to shine because you are getting an opportunity which you won't even get in like a normal season. Because if Kevin De Bruyne is there, if Bernardo is back, Grealish is back, these players will barely get a chance to be in the team. So now I think Pep will use this player wisely. Pep knows how to manage the squad. He will try to manage the squad, but I expect good performances from the likes of Phillips, from Gomez, for more consistency. So that we can go deeper into the competitions that we are in.
Yeah, I think definitely we as a our club realize that it's a long season. It's chess, not checkers. And in the process, if sometimes, of course, we would love to play our strongest 11 every single game because we
Hmm.
want to win every single game that we participate in. And the best way to put ourselves in a position to do so is to play your best players. But sometimes you have to take the gamble of shuffling your squad. Your first 11 a little bit so as to keep your players fresh, and maybe that will lead to us dropping points every now and then. But I think that's a risk you have to take. Otherwise, the other risk that you end up taking is far more gruesome to in the long run. So I think you really have to take that load management approach. You got to have that Kawhi Leonard mentality to just sit games. Like it doesn't matter. Like It's a long season, especially in the league. People are going to inevitably drop points, so you just have to
Yep.
sit some of your best players. We have been pretty lucky with Erling Haaland because he has a pretty worrisome injury record, but ever
True.
since he joined us, he's hardly ever gotten injured.
Yeah.
But you never know when it comes around, right? So you have to run the side of caution, and you definitely have to play it safe.
Yeah, I mean, also regarding because you have players. I mean, obviously your backup players are not of that quality of your strong 11 is, but you have players who can, in certain games can manage the situation well, can hold on the fort, and also the fact that even if talking about league in particular, if you even if you can drop points, you still have a chance to kind of turn things around and win back those lost points in one way or the other. But then if you but in that whole if you make it like a sprint instead of like a marathon and you kind of use out your best players, at some point they will burn out. They are humans
Yep.
after all. Okay. The season that Rodri had last season, I think that's
Crazy.
expecting that season again is from him is inhuman from every part. So I think so that is when you have got uh, and obviously you will see John Stones getting injured for quite some time. I mean, we don't know the timeline yet, as I mentioned earlier, which is also kind of a testament to the fact that you know your players are gonna get injured. But the thing is that if they get injured at a juncture where you don't want them to get injured, then it's on you. But you could have kind of you could have kind of gave them that space to take rest, to take some out for a couple of games, and then get the other lads a chance to showcase what they are. I mean, as even though Calvin Phillips has been berated a lot in the open that that he is nothing and it's that, I don't feel that there are no games for him. I mean, surely he can kind of take the load by starting couple of games, if not on your on the bigger stage. So and then you have got Matthias Nunes who kind of slot in there. So you have players who are versatile. The good thing that Pep Guardiola demands on players is to be versatile, to slot in positions where you can kind of cover up for your main man if he comes out and he decides to kind of stay on sidelines for a bit. So and since the manager has also came out in the open that the problem is there, I'm a bit concerned about injuries. I mean, सब कुछ अच्छा चल रहा है, it's all okay. I mean, ये कहना it's pointless because they have 5 injuries, which is problem. So these couple of games, you have a Newcastle and you have a Nottingham Forest and your Wolves. I think so. These games need to manage really well. If you need to rotate, you have to rotate. I think so. He kind of praised a lot about Oscar Bob, but I think so he'll get some chances in the season. He
Yep.
has to be ready for it. And whatever we have seen in those 10 minutes or 5 minutes, there are glimpses that if given a game, maybe this guy can put up a good performance and at least can have that can he will not drop the level of the team by and ruin the morale. He could do something. So I think so at that point there needs to be kind of like you need to see players as whose they are and at what level they are operating. If there are, for example, as I said, that Walker has played more than 95 minutes of the whole team, and same goes for Erling Haaland and Rodri. So at some point, you kind of have to put them out and bring your other players like Rico and everything. You have 23 players who can walk around in various positions, and I think so that's the strength that we have. That you have players that who can kind of play multiple positions. So I hope that these 2 3 games that we have next season, we could see him like a rotated squad where it's needed, and we get out of these 2 3 games with no more injuries. I always feel that we are about injuries now. Last season, I think I spoke to Rupam about this and it's like, we are एंड के गेम्स में बस मेरी एक ही इच्छा है कि इंजरीज ना हो, कुछ भी हो ये इंजर ना हो के है बस ये
Yep.
क्योंकि इंटरनेशनल ब्रेक में मेरा ये रहता है कि यार ये इंजर ना हो के है बस जीते हारे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता बस जैसे गए वैसे सही सलामत वापस आ जाओ अब सही वापस आ जाओ सही सलामत से बात आ जाए कि हमारे नए साइनिंग the 4 new additions that we have in Jeremy Doku, Josko Guardiol, Mateus Nunes, and Mateo Kovacic. First thing first, तो बहुत सिंपल पुट आउट करूंगा कि is this batch one of those unique batches that have slotted in Manchester City squad quickly. I think so. These four guys kind of are being on a mission to put that narrative. कि It takes a year to settle into City squad. They're on a mission to tear that narrative down. It's like तुम लोग के लिए लगता होगा. अब वो that if I had to quote one of the famous dialogues in Gangs of Wasseypur, हमको आप में मत शामिल कीजिए, हम अलग है. So I mean if you look at it, I think so these guys have put in like a glove. Even like Matthias Nunes when he's made a full-fledged debut against Red Star Belgrade.
Yep.
I mean you see that yeah, like is he playing for in this setup for the first time or like veteran hai ye? And even Doku, like when Pep Guardiola said that in the first game I felt him he's a bit shy, but then the West Ham game you could see who the real Jeremy Doku is. Like
True.
this guy has been eating his fullbacks for fun. कूफाल कूफाल का तो उसने गला ही काट दिया भरी सभा में मतलब पूरा उसको मतलब पूरा चीर हरण कर दिया उसका तो भाई मतलब he has literally ended that guy altogether and then that goal which he scored the debut goal and then look at that guy he is giving greedy over West Ham which is if you look at West Ham fan base ना उनको गोल से ज्यादा ना उसकी greedy करने से प्रॉब्लम थी. They were quite rattled by that whole greedy what he did instead of the goal. And then Mateo Kovacic, right from the first minute till his injury, like you could see his presence felt
Yep.
in the squad. And then when he went out from the injury, you could see that we have been missing someone, and that is unusual when you feel someone's absence right after 8 games. Josko Guardiola till now no complaints. Whatever he's doing is fine. हाँ, वो that what process वाला goal में he could have press. He could have committed to press. Uh,
Yeah.
but Bowen.
Paqueta.
But then
Sorry,
I think
Bowen.
so. That's a part and parcel of game that happens. But apart from that, no complaints at all. He has been also been made to play inverted midfield, inverted left back alongside Rodri, and he has been performing it very well. So
Yep.
like, are you guys not surprised? Yeah, this is they are making it too easy for someone to settle in this team.
I think this takes me back to the previous stream where I mentioned like this summer we have gone after skill sets rather than positions. Players who play a certain kind of style, and uh, that has really helped us, or in fact helped the players more than anything, because they have just had to be themselves. They haven't had to adapt to being a left winger for Manchester City. Instead, we are the ones who have adapted to them. So it's
Yeah,
us who have taken a somewhat different approach to new signings, and I think that has really helped. Um, and yeah, the versatility of the players has been the standout feature for all four of them. Like Guardiola, he's played, as you mentioned, inverted left back. He's played at the heart of the defense. Nunez, in his debut in the Premier League, played a lot deeper than he did in the Champions League, so he can do a little bit of both. Kovacic he has played sometimes like the more defensive minded midfielder. In other games, he's been the progressive carrier of the football. And Doku has played both wings and he's looked pretty solid on either wing. So it really helped that we focused on the specific players' skill sets rather than what this team particularly needs, which is different from previous years. Like if we even look back a couple years and we take a look at let's say Jack Grealish, we expected him to do a few things which he failed to do in his first season, and then he got more accustomed to it and was looking much more like a Manchester City player than in his first season. But the key difference is that we aren't telling them to be Manchester City players. We're just kind of building Manchester City around them. Like a slightly different identity, if not a new identity.
Agreed completely. Also, like coming to the question, yes, I'm surprised like the way that these guys have picked up. Obviously, this is a very short span of time to judge. It's just 7 games, 7, 8 games. But the way they like Kovacic feels like he's been playing for years. The way Kovacic has settled in the
Yeah,
team, the way it feels like he has been playing it for years. The way he compliments Rodri, the way he run. We talk about this a lot of times, but the way he charges with the ball, with the maturity, it's amazing to see. Again, like Doku, such an electric player. When he gets the ball, he kind of, obviously I'm not making a comparison on that level, but he gives that Mbappe vibes. When he gets the ball, he's gonna do something with the ball. He's not gonna stop. He's not gonna be there like just gonna do like just stay with the ball. He just wants to run with the ball. That electricity is there, and 1v1 he's good. He tried to cross. He wasn't like perfect, or his crosses were perfect all the time. But the way he was trying, there was intent from his side. The goal he scored was amazing. The decision making. There were like four players in the box, West Ham players, and they had no idea what just happened. Guy came just quickly, turned inside and scored the goal. That electricity is there. That excitement is there. Matheus Nunes again. The Belgrade game again, a mature performance. Felt like this guy's been here. Like the way he played. The second goal that we scored, the Alvarez goal, he won the foul outside the box and he ran the defense and he won that foul that eventually we scored a goal. That was Matheus Nunes. That was Matheus Nunes. Guardiola again, playing well, no complaints as you said. So all in all, I'm like very surprised the way these guys are picked up. We didn't sign the superstars like last time we signed Erling Haaland and we were excited to see. We didn't sign superstars, but still we are excited to see these guys because the way they are playing, there is a new approach, there is new style in this Man City team, and yeah, man, I'm very happy to have these players and hope that we continue to keep the form, continue to do the same way.
and I was when after the West Ham game, I was talking to someone, and uh, the when we were talking about Doku, and the first thing he said that I could see this guy can be an answer to what Vinicius Junior is for Real Madrid. If the guy really touches the ceiling, this guy is our own answer for Vinicius Junior, and I think that's kind of another highest compliment that someone could give Doku. Uh, Speaking about the thing, and I just want to two things to ask, and then we go for Nottingham Forest. Obviously, the first thing was, uh, are you guys also looking at the whole chaos that Pep is not allowing to like last season was all about control. Okay, this time Pep is like I'll add a little bit chaos to that. I was resisting to into to like make this a part of my game, but this season since because if you see other teams are like the whole box midfield is now the new flavor of the season. I think so for other rival teams. Because I think that they kind of attribute this as a reason why we achieve what we achieve. And then basically you're saying that because basically Pep Guardiola has this thing that he tweaks his thing. Like every season is not the same. Okay.
Yep.
And this season is like let me add chaos to that. And for that I added Jeremy Doku, 1v1 demon, and then I had Matheus Nunes who can dribble his way out of anything, and then Josko Guardiola who's basically like a Swiss knife in defense. And so like, are you guys a bit surprised that now you could see a little bit of chaos in Pep system, like less of a control and more of electricity and more of pace, more of people, players going direct, and secondly when Doku has that given that amazing performance against West Ham, a lot of slander has been directed towards Grealish. But,
Yeah.
Grealish is like Grealish is like Grealish is no more of use to City and everything. एक तो पहले बंदा injured है, ठीक है? I mean एक टांग पे खेलने थोड़ी आएगा अभी. Really no more of use to City and all that. But I think so that's quite unfair from to the director towards Village because we have two players who offer something different. When if you see Doku fails to track back to win the ball with Kufal, and then that goal could have been avoided. And if I have to be a very nosy person in that goal could have been avoided. It would have tracked back and he could have used that pace well. What Grealish, and that was Grealish does. He retains the ball, he carries the ball to the final third and makes that run. Okay, he do not do much in that 1v1 situation, but he offers something else that Doku has to learn. So Is it too much to not slander Grealish for reason because Doku's performing well, or you could see that both of them can actually operate well, and uh, we should be glad that we should have both the players of different profiles operating on left wing, and then in different games we can kind of use Grealish for example over Doku, because if you could see Doku coming on for 60th minute against a tired fullback, he 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 better have a stretcher ready or something. He will break his ankle or what. So, like, is the slander necessary? Is what I'm putting forward. Is the Grealish slander necessary because Joku is performing well?
Definitely not. Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, कि हमें तो स्क्वाड में 2 जैक ग्रिलिश की ज़रूरत नहीं है, 2 जेरेमी डोकू की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है. The benefit is in the fact that these 2 players offer something completely different. Um, that's what enhances the quality of the squad. Like हम अपने opposition को हर बार कुछ दूसरा ऑफर कर सकते हैं. And at this moment, I'm only talking about the left wing, and I could talk about every single position for that matter. Um, so yeah, it's absolutely needless. Like Jack Grealish, if you really want to retain possession, he is one of the best in the world at that. Like he does not give up the ball. If you just watch him, you can hate him all you want, but he does not give up the ball whatsoever. He's such a trustable person when it comes to retaining position in a difficult position like the left wing, where you're often challenged by the right back, often challenged by the right center midfielder, even the right winger. So you get so many opportunities to lose the ball, but Grealish doesn't do that. He would win a throw in, he would win a free kick, but he never gives up possession. And maybe sometimes against the better teams who can really hurt you in the counter attack, you need that. For example, against West Ham, like Jeremy Doku gave the ball away and we conceded. What is the
Yep.
guarantee that he's going to make amends within 1 minute in the second half? It doesn't happen every single time. Sometimes you have to play
Yeah.
it safe, and it is completely understandable if Guardiola prefers to play someone like a Jack Grealish in those circumstances. So it is the strength of the squad is in the versatility that different players offer in different positions. So yeah, any kind of slander is completely uncalled for. If anything, it needs to be celebrated how different the players are.
True. Agreed. Agreed. Agreed with it. Just only one thing to add. Slander is not necessary, but if Doku keeps on giving output, like Grealish, you also have to give out output. I mean,
Definitely.
Grealish needs to add numbers to his game. That's the only thing I'll add to it. But yeah, I agree what
Also,
you said.
like I mean, we know that Doku can play on the right as well. So
Yeah,
you have that opportunity to get both of them
true.
on different plans and kind of see your magic. Speaking of magic, I just wanted to have a quick take about the captaincy, basically. So, I mean, leadership group. Are you guys surprised with Bernardo Silva's inclusion over John Stones? See,
I
before
am,
going to
yeah.
anything, my only thing is to say that this basically because I believe in that City has a quota of have one player in the leadership group who's gonna leave next year. Okay, and then Bernardo Silva is
It's like a farewell
this
gift.
case like a farewell
You're
gift.
leaving, you
Yeah,
know what? You be the captain.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, probably you'll get one of the games. I think so. Will all four of us will sit out probably in one or two games, and I think so. At that point, who knows? The armband is yours. So, and when you hear about Kyle Walker's quotes, because I mean that guy is giving some cryptic quotes, by the way, and it's like we know what the order is, and we're not gonna put it out in the open, but we know what the order is, and I'll have that armband until the time is right. And when I read that, the first thing was like, dude, just say that Kevin De Bruyne is the captain. It's okay, we'll accept it. Because that guy, he basically said that, I'll be the captain and we'll announce the pecking order when it's necessary. So, as like, my first thing was like, dude, Can you just say that Kevin De Bruyne is captain and we can take it? So I mean, Kevin De Bruyne, Kyle Walker, John Stones. Sorry, not John Stones. Oh, I'm so
Ruben
sorry.
Diaz.
Kyle De Bruyne. I just asked about Bernardo Silva and then that. Apologies for that. Bernardo Silva, Rodri, and Ruben Diaz. I mean, I think so. That's quite a fair assessment of the captain. I don't see anyone else apart from Stones, obviously, entering into
Yeah.
this arena and taking over the captainship. So, I mean, captaincy also played a very important part in our last season. Right, the way the leadership has held on. If you see the whole documentary about a treble winning document about a UCL winning thing, and how Gundogan and Rodri and Diaz literally demanded from his teammates that you go out there and give your best, and if anything happens, I'll be there. I'll handle everything. So this season, when you have this as a leadership code, what do you expect from these leaders? Because you have to fill the boots of Ilkay Gundogan, who probably is up there as one of our best captains. So, and then you have that big hole, then you have to fill with these names. So, how would that play into the season? Like, what do you see these guys kind of taking over the mantle and then now being responsible for these bunch of other 18 players
Yep.
whom they have to kind of manage around.
See, leadership plays an important role when you are on a cusp of winning something. When you have a journey, when you want to achieve all the big trophies, leadership matters a lot, and we've seen this. We have great examples of leaders at our club. Inka Gundogan, and company, Fernandinho. Over the years, we had great leaders. So yeah, and so the list we have, the shortlisted captains we have, they're all respected people inside the group, apart from Bernardo Silva maybe, but all the four people like Ruben Diaz, Rodri, Walker, De Bruyne are well respected in our squad, in our team. And I think, but in general, I think every player in himself is a leader. The way like Julian Alvarez plays, like he wants to prove something. Haaland is the one who leads by attack. He scores goals. So there are individual leaders. Even like the other day, I read that Rodri said that Ortega informed him that the Red Star keeper was was just when it's active in the air, but not he was not looking around his left side or right side. He was not looking around the grounded shot, and where Rodri exploited him and scored a goal. So this kind of leadership aspects I think are there in our team. The competitiveness is already there in the team, and I think I'm pretty content. We're pretty happy with the order that we have, and yeah, I think Kyle Walker will become the next captain to lift Champions League in Wembley. Let's hope. Let's hope.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
think in a squad where people have mutual admiration and respect for one another, you don't really need a standout captain, so to speak. Like there can be various different kind of leaders. I think it was similar last year. Yeah, Gundogan was the guy who wore the armband, but he wasn't
Yep.
always the one who gave speeches.
Yep.
So it's a similar scenario this season. Like the armband as well is going to be shared by a lot of people, and
yes.
we have a select bunch of players who people when they speak, everyone else in the squad really respects and listens to, which is all we really need from our so-called captain. So yeah, I don't really require one specific player to become the captain. I'm happy with the five-man list that has since been announced.
And that whole photograph of all of them with the trophies, I think
Yeah.
so. That has to be best of the lot. I think so. We have to
Um,
do
since we have
this is the benchmark now to beat any of your social media work.
five captains this year, we need one trophy each for
Yep.
next
Yeah,
Yep.
season's
True.
photograph. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
the last. I mean, the last four the last leadership group gave four. So I think so. This time that's the benchmark. So next game, Nottingham Forest home. The last time when we met Nottingham Forest, I clearly remember me and Doc were abusing each other, and we literally were like, "What the fuck is wrong with this team?" Okay, like, what's the point of watching football? I'm not joking. We went on and on and on. Like, क्या है ये? मजाक चल रहा है क्या अभी यहाँ पे? So, I mean, that was I'll be honest, that was one of my breaking point, and at that point, I was at all time low in terms of my hopes with this team. It's like, maybe this is not a year. Maybe this is the rivals that the year that they were expecting the City to not win anything. Maybe that was the year. I think so. This game was like ये गेम में रेखा खींच दी थी भाई इसके पार का सीजन और इससे पहले का सीजन that makes a difference for me. Like
Yeah.
there are a couple of games like your Southampton loss, your United draw, and then United loss, and then this one. I think so. These games were like for me the lowest points. So and I think the last time it was Mr. Kilo Navas in the keeping, who was little the Mr. Octopus Navas, who kind of saving everything right, left, right, center. अब तो वो भी नहीं है. But I think so. In the bottom rung of the team that I have, Forest has actually made some really good signings in Ibrahim
Yep.
Sangare and Callum Hudson-Odoi and all of that. So I
Yeah.
mean, we are facing a, a kind of like a competent or a better team that in last season so they made headlines with 2 dozen signings. I think so. At least they made some 18-20 signings. This time they kind of
23,
don't
I
do that.
believe.
So
Yep.
23,
Yep.
yeah, 23
Yeah.
signings, and this time they I think so made 5 to 6. They kept that tradition alive. So uh, and we're coming after. I mean, the good thing is that our last game was also a home game, so we don't have to. I think that the traveling part has been cut out. So, uh, what are your expectations? Like keeping the same thing going? Kovacic is back. I think so. He would be more on the bench this season. What are your thoughts? Because it's what I mean. We played on Tuesday, right? Tuesday, I think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, not on
Tuesday night.
Saturday. So that's a good. I think so. That's good. 4 to 5 days gap, which is decent for this team. So, Steve Cooper has also been one of the managers to watch out for. I mean, he's not. He has a pretty decent record. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts apart from keeping that same run? Because I mean, we're given and I think so what would be a predicted lineup for now for this game?
Um, as far as the projected lineup goes, um, I think we'll have to go with at least close to
Same
our
lineup.
best 11.
Going with the same lineup with what we went for Belgrade, except Gomez, because I think so. I assume that you won't
Uh,
include Gomez for this game on the
yeah,
left.
definitely not. I think yeah, you'll have to replace him with okay. Sorry. I think
Guardiola
Akanji is the one who came on
who was on the
off
bench.
the
Yeah,
bench.
Kanji was on
Yeah,
the bench last
I
season.
think yeah, I think
Last
probably
game.
Akanji starts this game. So that's probably the one change in defense. Um, I think in midfield, do you bring Kovacic on already, or perhaps off the bench? I think we
I
might
think
see
so.
Kovacic
Keeping
start.
Kovacic's injury record in the mind, I think so they kind of would really exercise caution with him because he
Yep.
coming off a back injury as well. So they kind of exercising a bit caution with him, and maybe
Yeah,
they want to keep a little bit of a better option on bench, and that could kind of make a way for Matthias Nunes to make his full PL debut. That's what I assume that I
yeah,
think so.
possibly.
Yep.
And other than that, I think just Doku instead of Bernardo Silva, who's obviously injured.
Yeah,
Yep.
That should make up the team. Like, keep things simple, um, no messing about. Because Nottingham Forest, as you mentioned, they're a lot better than they were last season, and they were pretty good last season. They've added some really good, young, enthusiastic forwards. You've got on
Anthony
either
Elanga.
wing, yeah, you've got Anthony Elanga, you've got Callum Hudson-Odoi now, and Avoni has become one of the best strikers in the
Awani, yeah,
league,
yeah, yeah.
not
Awani
named
has
Erling
completely.
Haaland. Yeah, so they've got some really quality players. The defense is a bit suspect, but yeah, they can really hurt you on counterattacks. They can build their attacks from scratch pretty well too. So um, I think it's yeah, it's going to be a good game. But in the key battles that we'll have in this game, I think if you talk about the midfield, there's a bit of weakness. I don't want to read too much into it, but they've got the likes of Rob Yates, Olaina as the wing back.
Yeah,
Who else have they got? They've got Mangala. So
Oral
Okay.
Mangala, correct.
yeah, they've
Yep.
got Raul Mangala. So I think that's where we'll have a little too much quality for them, and that's where I expect the game to be decided. Like I expect us to have
I
too
think
much
even the
possession.
midfield, if I talk about the midfield, they kind of have this new midfield because apart from Mangala, they got Ibrahim Sangare and Andre Santos from Chelsea.
Yeah,
I think so
Gibbs
they
White as
kind
well.
of also have a mix of
yeah,
new players, and then and the keeper because the last time if I talk about the main threat that came from keeping, so they got
yeah,
Lacho Dimos from Benfica.
yeah,
I think so. Yeah, and if you talk about since you talk about forward, they have Divock Origi as well. Divock Origi, Chris Wood, and Tybon Oni. So I mean, you could see that this team has potential to rattle us a little bit, but not much. So I don't. I'm still hoping that we're keeping our home run intact because
yeah,
I mean, our home record is speaks for itself. I mean, Etihad is a fortress. There are no two doubts about it. There are no two arguments about that. It is, and I was talking about this with Doc as well कि यार हम लोग ने AI से कितना कुछ कर लिया है हम लोग ने वहाँ पे AI के जनरेशन के बाद भी वहाँ पे हल्ला मचा कर रख दिया कि लोग डरने लग गए because I mean just to quote the narrative no, we are not really there are we so uh, not I expect the same. I think if I talk about the lineup, and before I speak about my projected lineup, I think so. If Rathod has to add something, or should I go
Yeah.
ahead with that?
No, no. So I agree with the lineup. I think it's gonna be pretty standard lineup. I think lineup itself. It's gonna be a tricky game. Nottingham had good performance this season. I think they've defeated Chelsea at the Stamford Bridge,
who
and
hasn't?
Yeah,
also yeah,
I
and
mean
I think
Chelsea. So yeah,
and
it
also
They
it's
drew
Chelsea.
against Burnley at home,
yeah,
but they beat Chelsea away. So
and I think
that's
they were
Chelsea for you.
also winning against United, but they lost at 3-2. I mean, they also performed very well in
Yeah,
that
they
game.
got robbed in that game.
Yep. So it's gonna be a tricky game, but looking at our form, the way we are performing, players, we are pumped up and
Yeah.
all. I think it's gonna be
Forest
comfortable
is
for us.
eighth, by the way. Forest is eighth in the table.
Oh, that's
So
good news.
Sorry,
they
what's
have
that?
won two, they have lost two, and they have drawn one.
They won two.
Right.
So yeah,
And
it's gonna be a tricky game, but I think it's gonna be comfortable for us. I mean, we're gonna have
I mean,
some
if
phases
I have to
where
quote, if I have to quote Mr. Sir Alex Ferguson, lads, it's just Chelsea, lads. It's just Chelsea.
yep.
Okay.
So
What are your predicted scoreline? And then I'll talk about mine and then we'll wrap it up.
I'll go with. I think it's gonna be a
Or
tricky
should I
game,
ask
but
how many shots do you think
comfortable.
will hit in this game? Should I add this as well? Like yeah, number of shots
if
and number of yeah, I'll
if
do that. I'll
that's
do that. Number of
if
shots
that's a
and
recurring thing,
and goals.
okay. I think we're gonna win. I think it's gonna be comfortable game for us. I think we're gonna win 4-0, 4-0. I think it's gonna be my prediction. And shots, the way I think 25. I'll be generous this time. 25,
You're
not
not
35.
you're not generous. This is the
I
regular.
mean,
You're not.
yeah,
इसे
no, that's
generous
why I
होना
was like
कहते हैं क्या?
Well,
outrageous.
actually, it's less than the average over the
Yeah,
past couple of
that's
games. Much less than the
Yeah,
average. So yeah,
yeah.
not being generous
Okay,
at all.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, as I mentioned, I think we'll just have too much possession. I don't want to sound cocky, but I really think we're gonna have like about 70% possession, and
Yep.
Hmm.
their midfield just can't compete with ours on a regular day. I'm also gonna go for a 4-0, and I think we're gonna have. Uh, I'm actually gonna go for just 22 shots. I'm gonna keep it on the low low.
Over there, just over there.
Yeah, 22 should do the job.
Uh, Before I talk about mine, so अगर किसी को लग रहा हो कि हमने अर्लिंग हालैंड पे बात क्यों नहीं की, देखो मैं एक चीज कह देता हूँ, वो हफ्ता उसका नहीं था, वो आदमी ह्यूमन है, रोबो बोलना बंद करो, बस, दैट्स फॉर अर्लिंग हालैंड, ठीक है?
He'll be back.
कोई बस ये इतना ही बात करना था अर्लिंग हालैंड पे। नाउ फॉर लाइनअप, अगेन आई थिंक सो एडिसन इन गोल, एंड I really want that, give, if not Rodri, at least Diaz पे थोड़ी तरस खा लो यार, उसको रेस्ट दे दो कम से कम, if not Rodri. So I think so Ake, Guardiol, Akanji, Walker, it's back line for me. Rodri and Matthias Nunes, I really want to see him in a full-fledged PL debut. Alvarez and Foden, the staple food, the staple midfield food for City. The season was being closer to the box to supply Haaland, and left में Doku uh, right है फिर कौन बच गया क्या?
Alvarez, Haaland, Doku as a front three, Foden, Rodri, and Nunes as a midfield. So I think that
Yep.
will cover it up.
Yeah, I think so. I think that. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Yeah. And scoreline, I'll go with a KG 3-0. Okay, I'll keep the tradition intact. Or if I have to be a little more pragmatic, I'll go with 3-1. I'll say that because as Rupa mentioned about Avoni, like I'll give him a benefit doubt that maybe he'll
Yep.
that one moment of madness, he'll capitalize on that, and he kind of flicks in. And so a 3-1 for me again, for the third time. I really
Treble
want
of
एक
you
हैट्रिक
want
देखने तो बनती है स्कोर लाइन पे.
you want treble of 3-1. Yeah. I can
I want
understand. I can
repeat.
understand.
I want yeah.
Fair
I
play.
mean
Champions of 3-1. You'll never sing
Yep.
the
that.
champions of 3-1. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. ये रूपम जब भी आता है कुछ ना कुछ एलेगरी दे के जाता है. Okay, so yeah, I think so. That's from all of us at Boys and Blues. First of all, thank you so much, Shubham, for the featuring again.
The pleasure is all
And
mine.
we're gonna exploit our friendship for the whole season, for sure. Okay,
And looking forward.
and
Looking forward.
we are in talks with each other for putting this exploitation in a contractual situation. So yeah, I think so. Let's see where it goes.
Here we go. Soon,
You
soon,
you
soon
Yeah,
may come.
you
Yeah.
get to see him more. Okay, because I'll be honest, I've really been I've got some really good reviews that call him back again, and I was like, will cater to the wish, and voila, he's here. Thank you
Happy
so
to
much,
hear that.
and thank you so much, Rathod, for
You lads.
coming on and really being at this hour, the
Yeah.
pod. Uh, so yeah, I mean that's from all of us at Boys and Blues. Thank you so much for being with us. And if you like,
Please like, share, and subscribe. Yep.
you just
Like, share,
did.
and subscribe.
अगर आपके क्या thoughts है on the game that on our West Ham game and West Ham Belgrade game और अभी आने वाला Nottingham Forest game पे कमेंट में लिख के जरूर बताइए.
Prediction
अगर
in the
वीडियो अच्छा लगे
comments
तो
against
Yep.
Nottingham.
yes, and
Predict the
I think so. I think
shot
so.
number of
I think
shots.
so.
Predict the number of shots.
I'll give the honors to Rupam to kind of appeal to the people to
Please. Yeah.
the just
They'll at least listen
do
to
the
you more.
needful.
Yep.
Yeah. We're bringing out quality Manchester City content for you, like twice, thrice, 4 times a week, even. Everything you need to know about the club, discussions about the past, the present, the future, what happened in the previous games, what's gonna happen in the in the next games, and what happens in the meantime, everything we've got you covered. There's no better place to be. This is
Yep.
what this is the video you want to like. This is the channel you want to subscribe, and this is the comment section where you want to uh, be sharing your thoughts. So hit that subscribe button, and hope to see you all again soon.
Boys in Blue signing off.
There's no better way to
Yep.
address this, and I think so. I'll kind of I'll ask Subham to record this separately, and I'll clip it off, and then
Yep.
I'll play at the end in every video now. There's no way better to say this. So thank you so much for being with us, boys, and we'll
Thank you,
we'll
thank
bring
you.
him back again
Yep.
for further episodes. So yeah, from me, myself, Rathod, and Rupam, have a great day. And in the end, I just want to say, come on, City, Tita.
Let's go.
Come on, City.
Come on, City.